Yo, what's going on? It's your man G-Boy T Streams with another Division 2 video, and I am here to give you guys some insight on the PvP build that I've been running in the DZ lately that has been giving people quite a hard time. Alright, so without further ado, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at G underscore Boy T Streams. And you can also look me up on TikTok if you like. You can find me under the same name, or you can type in G underscore Boy T, and I will be at the top of your list to check out. All right. Now, seems like class is in session since we're ringing bells right here. All right. So let's get into the build, shall we? Now, starting off, I just want to say this build is very situational, okay? Very situational build. I wouldn't use it in every situation because you got some people in PvP or in DZ that likes to run hazard protection builds. Either they're at 100% or they're at 90%. So in that case, going up against them with a build like that, you won't receive your amplification of your bleed status on this build, okay? So you will just be doing raw, just basic weapon damage up against those type of cats that run the DZ. All right, so it's very situational, but don't get it twisted. You still can kill them. You just got to play in a different tactic, right? So starting out with the specialization, as you can see, we have the crossbow. Now you can't use this in PvP. All right, but you definitely can use it in PvE. And for those who are watching and don't know what this does, the talent for this specialization of this crossbow is explosive bolts. All right, so basically the bolts detonate after a brief timer, doing damage to the surrounding area. Okay, so those bow and arrows that's in this gun, they basically stick to an enemy, and after a certain amount of time, it basically explodes. So they take damage for getting stuck, and then once it explodes they take more damage after that. Now, having this equipped in your hand at the time while you're using it, it basically reduces the damage you receive against named enemies. Okay, all right. Now, another reason why we decided to choose this specialization, and I'll show you here once we get to the table, is because for one, it's the specialization for the crossbow is called survivalist. Now, using survivalist, it equips you with having the grenades, the incendiary grenades. So having this specialization on gives you this ability to use these grenades. If you don't have survivalist, you can't use them. All right. So the incendiary grenades apply burn to targets within the radius. So it's basically like a damage over time type thing.
Agent
If they're on
requesting backup.
fire, they're receiving damage over time. There's no uh, I'm not sure what the actual duration is. It's not long, but it definitely helps give you ample time to take enemies down, because while they're on fire with these grenades, they cannot ADS. They can't reload. They can't do anything. They can't run fast. They can basically sit there and tap fire off of their character. In the meanwhile, you're shooting them in the back or in the head or wherever you need to shoot them at to take them down. Okay, so they cannot do anything while they're on fire. All right. Now, unless they are immune to fire, if they got hazard protection builds on, or you know, some type of immunity from a team setting type thing, at that point, somebody wearing Cavalier, this fire is basically non-existent, right? So just also keep that in mind. Know what you're going up against. All right. Now, with this build, with this specialization, it allows you to use med kits. All right, and with that talent, distributed repair, right? So armor kits now repair over 5 seconds instead of instantly. So you won't get it instantly. It takes 5 seconds to go away. So as long as you pop the med kit, if you're getting shot, your armor comes back for the next 5 seconds, right? But also to group members within 20 meters. Now, 20 meters is pretty far. All right, keep that in mind. 20 meters is not, it's kind of far.
Clan
But
member in
if your
need of backup.
clan members or your teammates or co-part, whoever, if they're around you when you pop this med kit, you and everybody else that's on your team, if they're close within 20 meters, they will receive heals from this med kit, which is very, 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 very useful in the PvP world. Okay, um, you could be saving somebody's life and not even know it, but it's best to kind of like just call out, hey, team kit, I'm about to pop team kit. Make sure everybody's kind of close to you in a way. You pop it, everybody's getting their health back, and they can pretty much rush and take down, mow down whoever it is they're fighting, right? All right. So we're not worrying about the increased out, increased outgoing healing. Not worrying about that because this is not what this build is based off of. All right. So another thing about this survivalist specialization is that the group members get 10% bonus damage to targets with status effects. Right. So that means also you. So that means whoever is on your team, if you're applying bleed to them, which is what this build is based off of, then that means if they're shooting them, they have now increased their uh, damage output by another 10%, right? Increase their damage by 10% because the person you're fighting has bleed and they're shooting them, all right? So the same thing for you, you get the increase as well while you're shooting the enemy. So that's a plus 10% for you on bonus damage, all right? Now, starting out with the gun. Now, in case, one second, now, if, let's back up here. If you don't know how to equip your grenade, you just go to the grenade section up here next to the specialization and you pick whichever one that you're looking for. Now, the red one is, of course, the incendiary grenade. This becomes available once this character's loadout has survivalist on it. Now, as you can see in the background, it has the survivalist, the little icon in the back with the wolf and the bones and stuff like that. So that's how you know which one it is. All right. Now, to the first gun, we're using the CMMG Banshee. This is the SMG. It's not the name version, but it definitely is worth having in your inventory. I actually got a tip on this gun on how good it can be, and I decided to use it. I was using like the Orange Boars and Lady Death and stuff like that, but I decided to go with this gun, and it definitely takes it puts the icing on the cake for me. All right, now we're seeing at maxed out SMG damage at 15%. You got critical hit chance 21%, and you also got 10% damage to target out of cover on this gun. Now the potent and most important thing about this gun is the talent because of the build, right? So I'm using Sadis as my talent. It amplifies weapon damage by 20% to only bleeding enemies. If the person you're fighting is not bleeding, you will not get this 20% of amplification. Now, this is not giving you another weapon damage core. This is basically saying whatever weapon damage you have, I'm going to amplify what you have by 20%, which is a major buff. Okay, it's very important that you understand the difference between the two. It's not giving you weapon damage, it's amplifying your weapon damage. Okay, the second part of this talent also, after 4 kills, it applies bleed to the next enemy you hit. It can be useful, but then again, the way this build is set up, that second part of this talent is non-existent, and I'm gonna show you why in a second here. All right. So I went with the shotgun for the second one, sitting at 1.5 million total damage on this. Seeing that I do have 25% extra weapon damage from expertise, and 25 expertise is the max expertise on this game for right now. Okay, so shotgun damage at 15% maxed out. You got a maxed out damage to armor, which is 12%, and then you got a maxed out um, damage to target out of cover, which is at 10%. All right, so I decided to go with Optimus with this, and the reason is because of the weapon damage is increased by 3% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine. All right. This is also very important too because understand that the more the less bullets you have in this gun, the more weapon damage you will receive. And seeing how this gun holds five, bullet, 5 shells, if you get down to the last shell, you're basically sitting at another 15% weapon damage. So, like I said, this build is very unique, and you can find a way to do more damage over an enemy in many ways in this. Now, I decided to go with the critical hit chance mod attachment for this gun. I went with the rate of fire 5% and the critical hit chance attachment as well. All right, so everything is critical hit chance for the shotgun. That's because I want to stay at max crits when it comes to this shotgun, and also rate of fire. Um, Basically allows me to be able to shoot my shotgun a whole lot faster than what I was previously without it, right? Now the pistol, Mozambique Special. This is a named pistol. I went with that because of the talent. Perfect bread basket. All right, so landing body shots adds a stack of bonus of 50% headshot damage to the next headshot for 10 seconds. Max stack is 2, so you're able to get up to 100% headshot damage That's extra headshot damage, right? On top of what you already have. So if you can land two body shots, that's plus 100% headshot damage, and then therefore within those 10 seconds of having it, you could try to, do major damage to a target if you can aim pretty good with the headshots, right? All right, so going to the first piece of gear, we got the GoPro Sombra SA, and we are sitting automatically on 15% critical hit damage just by having this one piece on. Okay, so core attributes, weapon damage, 15%. Attributes sitting at critical hit damage, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage mod, all maxed out. Um, I decided to go with the group up because of the actual 15% critical hit damage that it gives you just for having it on. All right, now the chess piece that we decided to go with was the Ridgeway's Pride. It is definitely the most important piece of this build, and reason being. So, do you remember when I was telling you a while ago about the second part of the talent for the sadist on your gun is basically irrelevant, right? Well, it's due to this talent bleeding edge on this chest piece. So shooting enemies within 15 meters applies bleed to the target. All right. So there is no cooldown on this chest piece, right? So as long as you're within 15 meters of any person that you're trying to kill, it will give them bleed as a status, and that will amplify your outgoing damage. Okay. Now this build only does two. I'm sorry, this chest piece only does two things. It gives it allows you to apply bleed to enemies that are within 15 meters, and it also has the ability to gain armor repair, right? Armor regeneration. So repair 3 to 48% of your armor per second for every enemy that is bleeding within 15 meters. Okay, so if they're within 15 meters, you're getting some type of regeneration from this. All right, so the repair strength per number of bleeding enemies is if you have one person in front of you, that's 3% basically armor regen, and then if you have two people in front of you, that's 6% armor regen, and they got 3, 4, and 5, and 12, 24, and 48, and so forth. So with 5 being the max amount of enemies that you can gain armor regenerate from, it maxes out at 48%. So you got 3, 6, 12, 24, and 48. Now, just to give you an example, if you have uh, 5 people around you, and you're fighting one person, but there are people around you, and you can have them bleed. As long as they are bleeding and within 15 meters of you, you are regenerating 48% of your armor per second. All right, that is very, very uh, crucial in those comeback times, right? So you think about it, if you use it correctly, you don't need Unbreakable on this. If you use it correctly, you don't need Adrenaline Rush because this basically kind of takes their place. You know what I mean? So, like I said, if you're able to be within 15 meters of an enemy, you can shoot them. You will apply bleed, and you will also gain regeneration from them bleeding around you. Now, the core attribute is 15% weapon damage, critical hit chance 6% maxed out, crit hit damage 12% maxed out, and another crit hit damage mod 12% maxed out for the chest piece. All right, going down to the holster is the Brazo, and that is a very, very, very crucial piece to have too as well, due to its ability to have not only just an armor core but also give you 15% weapon damage, and that is another weapon damage core. Okay, so I'm not really worried about the skill haste. That's what it gives you just for having it on, but we're going to look over that, and we're going to look at the armor core maxed out that it gives you, and critical hit chance I decided to go with just to keep my max crits, and the 15% weapon damage, which is awesome. All right, so we're gonna go over to the knees now. I went with Sokolo because I wanted that extra 10% SMG damage that it gives you just for having it on. Now I went with armor core because I you do need armor core in the PvP world, okay? Unless you're just one of those all red players and you just willing to take a chance and die off of a couple shots. Now, um, attributes for this is crit hit chance maxed out and crit hit damage maxed out, okay? Now, going up to the hands, it is a named item. It's a contractor gloves. This is part of the Petro Defense Group brand set. It gives you automatically 10% LMG damage, but we're not rocking the LMG on this build, so that's kind of non-existent for us in this situation. I went with the Armor Core maxed out. Um, this contractor gloves specifically gives you a multiplicative attribute with damage to armor, which is 8%, and it is very, very useful and handy when it comes to the DZ. Critical hit damage is a secondary attribute, and it's maxed out at 12%. So going up to one of the other crucial components to have on this build is another named item. It's the backpack, the Anarchy's Cookbook, sitting at maxed armor core. Um, the attributes is critical hit chance, 6%, 12% critical hit damage, and 12% critical hit damage mod. All right, so those are the attributes that are all maxed out. Now the talent on this is also another um, piece that you have to have on this build in order for it to work correctly. Applying a status effect increases total weapon damage by 18% for 27 seconds. The perfectly wicked talent gives you 27 seconds to be able to have a increase in weapon damage of 18%. All right. Now, so basically, as long as you have that bleed status on an enemy, you basically have a plus 18% weapon damage for 27 seconds. All right. So after 27 seconds is up, it doesn't have a cooldown. So basically, you can just do it again, right? So after those 27 seconds, which would I guess would be considered a cooldown to 27 seconds, but after the 27 seconds, all you got to do is apply a status effect again, and it comes back alive, right? That's all you got to do. Whoever the new person is that's getting the status effect, you now have perfectly wicked activated, all right? And of course, you will know if it's activated or not by looking at that symbol next to perfectly wicked. It look like a little owl. So if you see that under your little your gun ammo and stuff like that, and you can see there's a little symbol under there, and it's probably gonna have a bar. And as long as it's filled up, you have that talent available. All right. Now, like I said, this build is very, very situational. I probably wouldn't use it in every situation, but it's definitely something you need in your inventory. Now, if we're going to the skills, I decided to go with the Defender Drone. I put 12% expertise for damage reduction. That brought the PvP damage reduction up to 11.7%. It's very handy. And the decoy for the second skill, I went with another 12% expertise, which increased the threat to 112%. So what I like to do sometimes if I'm running through landmarks or something, I drop the decoy down and all of the ads will get off of me and it'll get on the decoy. Or another reason is because during PvP combat fights, going against other rogue agents and stuff of that nature, you can drop the decoy down and it will basically kind of make you invisible in a way. It can trick another player to think that you're somebody that's coming out that's not rogue, or it can trick them to make them think that you're somebody that's on their team and they won't shoot at you, and you can give them the element of surprise, right? It takes your name tag off of you and it basically keeps it on the decoy. So like if they're posting and they look on the map, they will see the decoy wherever you put it at, but they won't know where you actually are because the decoy has your destination at another location rather than you right there behind them and they don't even know it, right? And like I said, that decoy only lasts for 19.4 seconds, so you got to do what you got to do quickly while that decoy is out. Now, another important thing to remember is while you're using decoys, it could be a it can be a double-edged sword, right? So it can help you, but also can hurt you because if you leave it out in the open and you're playing against players that have striker sets on or anything that can accumulate stacks, they can shoot your decoy and basically get stacks off of it as if it was a real player, right? So you don't want to do that. You want to kind of use it and throw it in a spot where it's not seen in open sight or somewhere that they can't get to it or something of that nature, right? So just keep that in mind when using decoys, all right? Now, as you can see, I'm sitting at 113.5k on actual base damage from, this is all from the amplifications that I gave it. So I gave it 20 expertise, it brought it up to that. Also, I'm sitting at 1.6 million armor. That's because I have added 12 expertise, 12% expertise to all my gear. All right, that brought it up to 1.6 million. And as you can see, I probably can get it up a whole lot higher. I haven't maxed any of these out just of yet. And so just keep that in mind. The more expertise you put on this to gain armor, it will bring your total armor up. Okay. Now, looking at the stats for the Banshee, the SMG that we're using, um, the PvP weapon damage is sitting at 37,000, almost 38. I got the crit hit chance maxed out at 60. I'm doing critical hit damage at 166, 7% headshot damage. I got the 8% armor damage. Um, so this is a very, very, very well put together little piece here. Um, if we're looking at the shotgun stats, I'm sitting at 50%, 150% critical hit damage. And honestly, you can use this shotgun as if you had a shotgun build on with these type of stats. 340,000 on the PvP weapon damage. Now, keep in mind, using a shotgun with this build probably would hit a little harder because you have bleed. And just remember, bleed, you get that extra 18% weapon damage to any enemy that has a status effect. So your shotgun will definitely hit a whole lot harder than what it's currently hitting now. All right. Now, remember, this build is very situational. So I hope you guys enjoyed this setup. And if you guys would do something different to this build, let me know what your ideas are by leaving a comment below. And I will see you guys next time. You guys enjoy a little bit of gameplay I will show after this video. G-Boy T Streams out. I see you. Get off of me! Good shit, good shit.
Hostile defender drone detected. Rogue Stinger Hive detected. Hostile Stinger Hive detected.
I'm blind as fuck.
Now detecting contaminated gear.
Come upstairs, come upstairs, come upstairs. Oh, you can't? Fuck.
Rogue Restore Hive detected. Hostile Restore Hive detected. Contaminated gear.
Everybody on our ass, bro.
Rogue Striker drone detected. Hostile Striker drone detected.
Show you how ass you is. Yep, show you how ass you is.
Contaminated gear.
Show you how ass you is.
Rogue Hive detected. Detected. Nearby rogue agent killed.
Oh, this fucking ad got me froze.
Hostile Restore Hive detected.
It's over with, baby. It's over with, baby.
Rogue protocol deactivated.
It's over with, baby.